Butterfly gardening can be a very enjoyable and rewarding experience, and something that you can really get your kids involved with and teaching them about science and our natural environment. It's actually probably a lot easier than you would think to attract butterflies to your garden, but we're going to talk about some of the things today about what you really need to have a truly successful butterfly garden. Pretty much anything that blooms is going to attract butterflies, but there are some flowers that they'll prefer over others. For instance, if it's anything that's brightly colored, purples, reds, even yellows, will attract more butterflies than something that's maybe a little bit pastel or even white colored. This butterfly bush is a great example of a plant that butterflies are naturally going to be drawn to for a couple of reasons. Not only just its color, but then also if you look at it, you can see that a lot of itty-bitty individual flowers make up this one flower cluster. There's lots of flower clusters on the plants. There's a couple plants in here, so it's a big mass of food source. So the butterflies don't have to travel very far to get more to eat. Another thing to keep in mind is to have different nectar sources throughout the season. You can see that not all of the plants here are in bloom, so that's going to keep the butterflies in your yard and not try to leave to find different food sources. Water is another essential part of having a successful butterfly garden. They can't drink from open water, but they can drink and get water and salts and other nutrients from the soil if it stays really wet. This is a good example. If this was maybe even just a little bit wetter and continuously stayed this wet, sometimes if you have just a pail of sand and keep it wet, that would be enough structure for the butterflies to perch and get some water that way. Once the butterflies mate, the female is going to lay her eggs on plants that the larva or the caterpillar will eat once it hatches. Dill is a really good example of that, and larva or the caterpillar could eat a lot of plant material just a few short weeks. You're probably going to have some tattered and ragged looking plants because of the larva feeding, but it's really a small price to pay for some really awesome butterflies afterwards. Another thing that butterflies need is a sunny location that's at least partially protected from the wind. Remember that butterflies, like all insects, are cold-blooded, and so they rely on the sun to keep their body temperature regulated. If you have any rocks out here in your garden like these, that would be a great way of providing a little more heat for the butterflies to sit there and warm themselves throughout the day. So like I said in the beginning, if you have anything blooming in your garden, chances are you're going to attract some butterflies. But if you incorporate a few more nectar sources for the adult butterflies and then some more plants for the caterpillar, chances are you're going to make that habitat much more inviting to the butterflies.